let me read to you from the Qumran scroll. And this is Qumran scroll. It's called The Coming of Melchizedek. The technical title for it is 11Q13, column 2. I'm just going to read portions of this, some of the stuff that's just so interesting, because you'll find that it's all very, very apocalyptic. And concerning what Scripture says in Leviticus 25:13, in this year of Jubilee you shall return, every one of you, to your property, also what is written, and this is the number of remission. Every creditor shall remit the claim that is held against a neighbor, not exacting of a neighbor who is a member of the community, because God's remission has been proclaimed. Notice, it's a remission of debts. This Jubilee, this coming of Melchizedek, is this, a Jubilee is, those every 50 years you're freed from all debts, right? Being now over 50, I would love to have a Jubilee. Please, Lord, let it come. Let me be released from all of my debts. Give me this great forgiveness. It says, the interpretation is that it applies to the last days and concerns the captives. The captives. Captives of earth, of Sheol. Just as Isaiah, to proclaim the Jubilee to the captives. Obviously, I'm going to argue if it's apocalyptic and if it's messianic. And again, this is just one of those moments we're going to be Christological. If it is in fact Christological, then the captives aren't simply the captives of debt. The captives are the captives of death, of Sheol itself. Just as from the inheritance of Melchizedek, for Melchizedek who will return them to what is rightfully theirs. They'll set things straight. He will proclaim to them the Jubilee, thereby releasing them from the debt of all their sins. Forgive us our debts. This is the proper translation of the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. This is the prayer that we give up. This is the very order of Melchizedek. This is the Jubilee to release us from those debts, even the debt that we owe to death itself. He shall proclaim this decree in the first week of the Jubilee period that follows 9 Jubilee periods. Then the Day of Atonement shall follow after the 10th Jubilee period, when he shall atone for all the sons of light. Now all of a sudden he's this angelic individual, which if you know Hebrews, think about one of the arguments that begins first chapter of Hebrews. It's trying to argue, here's how Christ is greater than the angels. Well, it turns out that we're all used to the story where the archangel Michael is the head of the angels who defeats the fallen angels. But here it's Melchizedek who's doing that, which is then perfect. I'm telling you that I think that Hebrews knows this Qumran tradition, either written or the oral tradition that goes with it, because it lines up perfectly. Because here Melchizedek is the head of the angels who will lead the sons of light. And the people who are predestined to Melchizedek, upon them, for this is the time decreed for the year of Melchizedek's favor. And by his might he will judge God's holy ones, and so establish a righteous kingdom, as it is written about in the songs of David. Notice that. All the language that Melchizedek is going to judge. Well, what's Christ going to do? Christ is going to be the judge.